Coach Francois. I'm a professional futsal coach for the Midwest Futsal Club. This is our presentation on applied game theory and applied analytics. It's entitled Football. We call it Football, the Art of Winning a Random Game. I've been the futsal coach at Midwest for 5 years. I'm also the author of a book on applied analytic theory for development of players called Football, How to Win a Random Game. So where it basically starts for us is understanding the model of the game, right? So this is the basic Pythagorean theorem, right? It models a zero-sum game. What's slightly different for soccer or futsal is that the exponential value here. So if you think about goals scored squared divided by goals scored against squared, or goals allowed squared plus goals scored squared, right? That should give you your predicted win percentage within a standard deviation, plus or minus 10%, let's say, right? So this is the basic model of the game, right? The exponential is what makes soccer different. So because it's a low scoring game where events have exponential effects, right? Who scores first can have a massive effect on the game, right? So delving deeper into this kind of a model, right? You can see how different teams might play. For instance, if you get a benefit for scoring first, right? And that benefit is exponential, okay? Then there's some teams that are just going to be oriented towards scoring first, period. So those are the teams at the top of the table. Those are your Manchester Cities, your Chelseas, your Liverpools, right? They just have to score one more goal than the opponent, and they're geared towards scoring goals. Then you have another tier of teams that are basically geared towards stopping goals and then counterattacking or changing their profile depending on the game scenario, right? So those might be the teams at the bottom of the table. Now, how the teams in the middle of the table and in different parts of the table under different circumstances against different opponents, how they respond to this game model is where it gets interesting. For instance, if you look at here, you can score goals. If you look at the formula, you can score goals in a way that would limit a counterattack or limit goals allowed. So certain offenses, certain scenarios, certain decisions, certain player qualities allow you to score goals, but nevertheless diminish the amount of goals allowed against you. Likewise, there's a way to defend, limit goals allowed, that would promote counterattacking or goals scored, counterpressing. A way to defend to promote goals scored, trigger counterattacks, building out of the back, right? Or sort of collapsing deep with numbers and counterattacking. A low block with a counterattack, right? So we have to model our understanding of game theory around this formula. For instance, there are some teams that don't have the goals scored profile, don't have the minimized goals allowed profile. They don't have the score in a way to minimize goals allowed profile, like a high possession team, right? They possess the ball far away from their goal. They do a slow build up and controlled build up, but then nevertheless are oriented towards scoring goals, right? They are not teams that counterattack, that try and limit goals allowed but promote goal scoring by the way they do that, or counter-pressing teams, right? There's teams that switch their profiles depending on who they're playing or depending on what the scenario is within the game. You can go from game to game, right? And again, what you have to understand is the major role that luck can play in this kind of a scenario, using these kinds of formulas.